All right, hey, welcome back. Let's talk about a few things today. I got a little list made, and so I'm going to go through the list. It should be cool. We should get it done in less than an hour. No worries. All right, first thing first. I mentioned this before. I'm going to mention it again. We are now offset on our schedule. So, like when we started the semester, we started on a Tuesday. Tuesday, you got the big assignment. Thursday, you got the small assignment. Well, things have shifted because we had a Thursday off. And so in order to make things roll and that you always had a full week to work on assignments, we've shifted. So now we are on like Thursday starts the week, Tuesday's the backup day. So double check your due dates. Everything for the next 4 weeks will be Thursday until we have another Thursday off. And then it resets for the rest of the semester. So just kind of make sure you're checking your due dates. They're in there. And if you go to calendar and go to month, as you can see, it's Tuesday, 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 Thursdays. So just it's actually in your favor. So and then it's in March it's Thursday, Thursday, and then we're back to Tuesdays again. And I'm going to double check that this is the week that it changes. It may be this week. So I will double check that to make sure that we are on like staying like, I think this Thursday we have off. But yeah, I will double check all that. You don't need to know that now. It's not going to affect you. Yes. Oh, if Thursday the 20th. So these need to switch, and then this goes here. Thursday the 20th. So I have one more week. Note to myself, make sure I get that fixed up for us when the due dates are correct. So just pay attention to your due dates. Not a big deal. Courses. Brandon Media. All right. Finish this off. In week 8, I'm going to talk about this, but I want to talk about it now very quickly. Spell check and something else you can do to make your work better. Every program has a spell check. You just have to find it. It's usually like an edit, spelling, check spelling. Make sure you're checking your spelling. For some reason, I'm finding more and more spelling errors. Illustrator, same thing, edit, spelling, check spelling. I have auto check on. That puts those little red lines underneath. So you know if something's spelled wrong, start to use those. Here's the other cool thing. And I grabbed this. If you type out your stuff, and I just grabbed somebody's work, okay? I didn't look at this. Here's what you can do. And this is how you use AI to your advantage, okay? So you type something out, type it out in whatever program you want to type it out. I'm going to open up a student's work. I am not saying the student did bad. I'm not saying they did anything wrong. It's just I just grabbed one. And so I'm going to copy that. All right. So I typed it up and I think I'm done. But what I do, this is serious what I do. You can go to ChatGPT or Gemini. I'll use ChatGPT. All right. And this is how you use it. Start off by prompting it and let it know who you are. I've used this enough that it's building a backlog and it knows. I start every one letting it know. And you can do this in Gemini, do this in ChatGPT. Gemini is free. ChatGPT you have to sign up for. I can do it in both. I'll just do it in both to show you. And then you just write, I'm a graphic design, and I'm going to put instructor because I don't want to change instructor. Can you make this paragraph sound clearer and make sure it's at least, and I'm going to go over, and look at my spelling, so fix those. I'm going to go over at least 125 words long. Now I'm going to hit a soft return, shift return. That's how you get it down. And then I'm going to paste in that work. And I'm going to hit OK. And then it's going to do this work for you. It's checking spelling, checking your grammar. You have to reread it because sometimes I have to reread it. It doesn't sound the best. Like sometimes it does something goofy, but it's just going to check it. And then you reread it and you know you're solid. And it literally, it takes a second. So I'm going to just copy and paste this out. And I'm going to put it in the, I don't want to see models. I'm just going to do the same thing here. Paste. Oh, that was delete. Paste. Hit the send, just a sec. Oh. Well, see, Gemini didn't do it as nicely as ChatGPT did. So that's why you play with both. And then you can rewrite it and you just be like, just fix this, fix this part, fix that part. I've only started slightly using Gemini. I started over a year ago working in ChatGPT. Then Gemini came out. And then so it's now like, which is your favorite? Like they kind of do the same. And you have to, like, the more you use them, the more they learn who you are. That's the big thing I learned is like, let it know who you are. I'm a graphic design student. The project is to do this, and it can give you better results. So use this, like type up your own work, have it check it, have it make sure there's enough words. I use this for every assignment I write. I write the assignment, I put it into ChatGPT, I have it fix it and adjust it to make it sound even clearer and clearer and clearer. And sometimes I run them through more than once. I'll run it through once, I'll make adjustments, I'll run it through again, make adjustments, and then I'll like have what I have. That's why like sometimes you'll see now, I do it more now than ever, is I'm changing assignments as we do them to make them sound clear, to make them sound better, because then I'm like, oh, I see this is wrong. So use that. Use that for spell check. Use that to check your grammar. Use that for everything. It is awesome. Yeah. Don't necessarily use it to write for you. That's where it's not so great. You can, yeah, it'll give you what you need, but it's not always the best. All right. Another thing I want to show you. If you haven't done this, and this is for when you work on your projects, all projects, do Adobe Color once in a while. Color palette generator. Start to play around. Find some themes. I do use this. I don't use it a ton, but I use it enough. And I'll show you, I used it for, I'm going to show you just one level of the logo project. I'm going to show you way more of my development of poster and flyer on Thursday. But I use this all the time. Like I'll explore and then like you can type in keywords like colors, like, I don't know, it keeps coming up with this, but like, I don't know. I do like 1990s, like 1990s. Just put that in, see what happens. And you start to get some, or you can pick a color source and you just start looking. And I'm like, oh, I like this. And I'll download the JPEG. Adding it to the library, I don't know why. Like, I cannot figure this out for the life of me. To add to the library, and then I go to my library, it's never there, or it takes like, it feels like it should happen immediately, and it takes like a week, and then I'm like, oh, there it is, but I don't want that anymore, and then I throw it away. I usually just download the JPEG. But play around. People out there share a lot of great stuff, and if you're like, I'm just not hitting like that color setup I want, look around, like use this to your advantage. In the create one, like you can do like all these to like play around with, and you move a setting and you see what it does, or you can add colors. I want to add another one, add a swatch, and then it adds it in there. You can change and adjust things however you want, and just play around with it. The turns to custom as soon as you add something, hey? Analogous. See what it does when you push things around. Have some fun with it. I don't like that marker. But I generally go, I explore, or I do trends once in a while. Look through this. So use these. I use them a lot. Like there's a good set. And it's not like I couldn't think of it myself. Sometimes when you're in a hurry or you're like, I know what I want, but I just want to be able to find it. And then you can scroll through these and you're like, I like this one. That looks good. I'll copy that. I'll copy this. I'll copy the other thing. So use this. This is a great helper for your for logos and setting up a whole color palette. And I'll show you this in depth a little bit more in a little bit. How many times can I say little? So that's that one. 2 easy items that I want to bring up. And I should have I've brought them up in the past, I think. I'm going to bring them up now. Typography. These are both typography, and these are both about body copy. Do not use all caps for body copy. Stop doing it. If you ever did it, if you ever think about it, or you pick a font and it's all caps, pick a different font. All caps is too hard to read. When you set it up in a in body copy, it's just like, it's too hard. With today's day and age, it's also meant as yelling. You know, when you all cap somebody back in your text messages, it's your yelling. Just don't do it. I love that, but I love this font. It's all caps. Find one that's similar and use one that's not all caps. You know, don't make sure you're not doing it. This is your warning. This is in the check. There's only so many things I can add into this, like make sure you check it list for assignments, but I'll start, you know, knocking off lots of points. Be like, I see all caps, kapow, don't do all caps. All caps can be for titles. Look at that, big, fat, all caps. I'm emphasizing this, all caps. This is this way because I'm emphasizing, but then I went to lowercase. You know, like this is gentle and reads. This is whatever. So there you go. No more all caps for body copy. It's not done. The only way you should be doing it is if the client purposely requests it. There might be a time when they're like, oh no, it's our style, it's all caps. You'd be like, okay, I'm gonna do what you want, and you suck it up because you're getting paid to do whatever they want, even though it goes against every ounce of design in your body. So don't do that. The other one, I don't care what it is. Don't use center text anymore either. Center align. It's not needed. It's put it, you know, we have this tendency to put it like, oh, I'm going to put it right down the middle and I'll use center. It's not a poem. You're not, you know, eloquently doing a poem. It's too hard to read. The double jagged edges don't help read. This is like, bing, boom. You know exactly where to go. Your eye just flicks. Boom, boom. It ends here. I know where to go. Here's like, ends here, starts out here, ends here. Oh, it's almost the same. Nope, now it starts in. And then this line's really bad. This is super dumb. And this is horrible. This line, you know, big, small, bigger, bigger, bigger. So make sure you're not using center for large body of text either. So, hello, Samantha. You'll have to go back. I covered off on a bunch of things, but it's okay. No worries. So no more using centered align for large body of text. Too hard to read, too janky. It's not a poem. It's not the other one. It's not as sophisticated. It's the easy way out. Oh, if I make everything centered, it's easy. Yeah, but centered is boring. Like everything down the middle centered is boring. Like people are just like, oh yeah, whatever. It's not needed. Use it. Use your design skills. Try something different. Left align, no more center line for anybody. All right. That's centered, crossing off my list, all caps. All right, 2 other things. This is going quick. Let's open up this. All right. Bleed in images. Bleeding images. All right. Everything must bleed, no matter what you do. So I'm going to take this. This is my bleed one, right? I'm going to just shift this around. Get this out of here. Boop, boom. So as you can see, my chicken bleeds off the page on all four sides. Now, say I'm doing something cool, and I do want my image, all my images right up against. I'm actually going to cheat on this one. I'm actually going to do two things just to help illustrate my point. Because we can't. I don't care if you do this stuff, but then you have to look at what is touching the artboard and then say to yourself, well, it's got to bleed off. So here, if I have this image here, and this is all I do, it's kind of a pain in the butt, but it's what you have to do. I've done some crazy ones. I don't want it. So if it cuts wrong here, here's my artboard edge, here's my bleed, and here's my margin. If this cuts off early, I don't want the chicken thing to come through. So all I'm going to do is draw a rectangle the size of that image, pull it down to the bleed. And yeah, there's no automatic doing this. This you have to do by hand. There I have the bleed. All right. I have this image, comes up to the bottom. You kind of like that whole fake it till you make it. I'm just going to make a big one. And for this one, I'm just going to choose a gray. Something close to what's happening so that if it does get cut off, it doesn't go to white. So I hope that we don't want a white edge. If they can't cut this correctly, well, how do you do this on the side? I'm going to do the same thing. I'm looking for little clues. I'll go up to there. And then I'm going to make another square. And this is that darker color. And I'm going to zoom in. You zoom in. If you want it, if you want that to match better, just make sure it's selected. Pick a darker color in there. There you go. So you actually, on images, unless you go, which is the other one, go in the Photoshop and extend the image, which is the other way to do it. This is sometimes for me the quick way. But I would go in, I don't have this image, so I can't do it in Photoshop. But Photoshop, it's so easy now. Oh wait, maybe I will. So you can go through and do that. Or if I have a poster and I want it right up to the edge, just do the same thing. Here to here. So it goes to there and color pick it. Sometimes something is better than nothing to kind of make sure that even if this got cut wrong, there's a slight color difference, but it's not a white line or something like really jarring. And that's what you do. So I'm going to, like this one is just this gray again. Finish up this dude because it's bugging me. There you go. I don't know, it is what it is. There you go. Like now, if anything gets cut off, there's something there. And it never gets offset like a ton, but you just got to make sure. You got to make sure your images are bleeding off. And you will get called by the printer if you don't do this. They'll be like, oh, none of your images are bleeding off. Do you want to fix that? And you're like, oh, I got to go and fix that. So just get in the habit of making sure. I don't know. Let's try this copy. I'm going to open up Photoshop. I forget how to do this. File, new. There, I want this. Create. Paste that in. Pixels. Then, so I need extension at the side and the bottom. So I will go to edit. image, excuse me, canvas size. Oh, got it. I was like, where is it? I'm going to go up to that corner and then I'll just make it like, I always just do an inch, about 6 and 4. So what it's going to do, because of these are left open, it's going to expand the image to those areas. So there you go. And then I should be able to just select that bad area. There's that white. I had a white line in there. And then generative fill, I think it's like fill in background. I don't know if it'll work really well. Like I said, I don't do this that often with the AI generator. It did. Okay. That's kind of weird. Hey. I mean, it's enough for his shoulder. You just, and then you go in and you fix what it didn't do good. So, and that's how, you know, you just simply add. It's got a shoulder. It's enough. Darken up that, and then you have extension on the picture. So you can do it either way. The auto-generate AI fill isn't always perfect. When you see it happen in those ads on your social media, and God, I know that stupid like Adobe music and you know that they play. They usually have extremely simple backgrounds like blue. They're just filling with blue. So this can work too, to make sure that you have the extra parts needed to extend images to the bleed if you want to have them go all the way to the edge properly. I hope all that makes sense. I've been seeing it happen a little bit more, and I'm slowly telling just individuals, and I thought, hey, I'm going to tell everybody. Final thing for the day. Oh, image and text around an image. I personally don't think text wrap works well at all. It's something like you do need to go in and fix it. The reason why I don't think it works well at all is if you are wrapping text around an image, that should be equal around all 4 sides when you do it. And it's somewhat, I think it's hard to do it using text wrap. So I hit make. So right now it is like set at like 6 point. Then I have to go to object, text wrap. Okay. Oh yeah. Whatever. Text wrapped options. Then I want to be like, okay, make it up to 10. Okay. And then like, then I can move it in, but then like, oh, then this stuff starts happening and I got to move it here. And I just like, don't like, it doesn't seem to work. And then if you set it wrong, then you have, you know, huge gap here, a little gap here. This is because of a return. Or I think the easier way is like, oh, I want my image here and I want my text to go around the image. I just make the text box the shape I want it. Add a point. Add a point. And change your text box. And just do that. Because then I can move this exactly where I want it. And it's not jumping my text all around. And then if I like, oh, I want to, you know, extend it. Let me get rid of this return. But, you know, like, oh, where's the rest of my text? Then I can just pull down this lower part of the box. But to me, this gives me far more ability to make it how I want it. I don't, there's the, oh, here I'm going to do it. Here I do it. It's got a widow. I can't let that go. So I'm going to do this. Soft return, done. Took care of that widow. But I have more control. Now I can like, oh, I want the picture moved out perfectly in line with that end, and I can move it down. And I have a beautiful gap around it. Instead of me trying to futz with this, being like, okay, the text box on my other one is this big, and then I'm slowly trying to move this, I don't feel like I have the control here that I need it. Because then it's now saying it wants to gap this as well, and I don't want that to happen. I can't see my returns. Then if I'm like, oh, I want to move this, oh, but I just want to move it up, okay. See, I can't move it over to get in line with that because it wants to shift this all over, and then it puts a 2 on the other side. So why fight it when you can just do, now I have full freedom. I want to change something, just, grab that. You can do this in InDesign as well. Grab that. I mean, I've showed you the free transform tool, which is beautiful to use for sizing things like this. And you resize it, and then I can move this, how I want, and be like, oh, that's too tight. Like I can make sure this distance is equal to this distance. That's how I do it. So when you use that text wrapping, I think it opens up a lot of like weird things that are uncontrollable, like this. And then to be like, well, I still like, because then I'll be like, can you line up the end with that? And you'll be like, no, because now I have to go in and hit soft returns here and here. So just do it by hand. It doesn't take that long, and you get exactly what you need. And then you don't run into the problem like, you can move this then. You can move it by mere like pixels and do what you want. Again, I did it in Illustrator. I do the exact same thing in InDesign when I need to, when I need to wrap text. So that's that. I think those are all the things I wanted to cover off on today. So yeah. So the Tuesday, Thursday thing, we're just kind of a little reversed until the next Thursday off. A spell check and ChatGPT. Yeah, bleeds, all caps. So that is it. On Thursday is actually the launch day for part 2 of the ice cream social, the custard social. I shouldn't say ice cream, I'll get in trouble. That'll be part 2, and I will go over design. Oh no, you know what? I'll talk about one last thing. I apologize. I have one last thing. I created a logo, and I got this color palette from Adobe Color, and I used it to make a bunch of variations of my logo. Let me find them. So before I got too far, and I talk about that variations that you guys are going to have to work on. Everybody's going to have to work on. Wow, I was hitting the wrong screen. I went through and I like found a color palette, and I'm like, okay, here's my color palette, and here's what they all look like. I found my fonts, and like, it's a fairly simple logo, and that's why it allows me, to do it like this. Some things I got to fix. I missed that little circle that's supposed to be cut off on all those, but this is the final. But just something to do, something to play with, play around. Yeah. I can't hear you. I see your hand is up. What do you need? What's the question? No. That's what the client wants. Big brain freeze, frozen custard festival. Yeah. Well, that's the one you chose. You had 5 to choose from, 7 to choose from. But yeah, no, it's the Big Brain Freeze Frozen Custard Festival. But think about how we say it too. This is Scoop MKE, Frozen Custard Festival. I'm thinking about hierarchy. What's the hierarchy of the message? Big Brain Freeze is like the name of the festival, but it's a frozen custard festival. We don't want people to forget that. We don't want people to just see Scoop MKE and not know what the heck it is. It's Scoop MKE, Frozen Custard Festival. So you have to think about hierarchy. How are we going to say it? How do we see it? How do we, enjoy it? I'm trying to think of other ones. But yeah, so no, can't shorten it. That's what the client requested. So yeah, play around. Like I wanted to show you because I showed earlier today about the color, and I do it. I do use it. I've downloaded the JPEG, did color swatches. I hope you all know how to make tints of your colors. It's super easy. I'll do that and then I'll let you go. Oh, I can't see it. I don't have those links anymore, and that's why it's doing that. But let me open up color. I want to show you something. I taught this a lot in, if you were in my new version of 103, you got inundated with how to do this. Okay, color palette generator, whatever. I'm going to go to trends. And I'm just going to pick one and download the JPEG. This one. Download JPEG. And then I'm going to open up Illustrator. And I'm going to place it. Let me move it over. File, place, downloads, place. The only reason I brought this one in is that I can see this RGB breakout. And so I'm going to make a color square. As you can see, the colors are off. But I'm going to type in these colors. So I'm going to go to my color fill and I'm going to go to the palette. And I'm going to type in the exact 143 tab 166 tab 63. So now it's an exact match. And while I'm here, I'm going to go to I'm just going to click on the swatches right here. I'm going to go to the plus and I'm going to call it like new green. I'm going to make sure it's not processed, but a spot color. And I'm going to hit OK. And now it adds it here as a spot color. And what does that allow me to do is rad stuff like this. That's a spot color. And now when I go to the palette, I can change its tint. And it's an exact tint of that same color. So these aren't two different colors. It's just, this is 25% or something like that. Well, 30, it's very close. So this helps when you're dealing with working with logos and you want a blue and a light blue. It can be one blue and you do a tint of it. So something else to play around with when you're working with your logos. So awesome. Any questions, comments, or concerns? All right, I will see you all on Thursday. The part 2 launches and on the discussion boards when I get to those later on today. All right, take care. Talk to you later. Bye.